Hey everyone, it's Timid Falconite, and I'm back with another episode of it's Quack Cup. Yeah, Quack Cup 2, my Quack Cup 2 run. This will be match 2 on the map Chasing Shadows in Magfell. Before we begin, I'm gonna go ahead and, with the actual fucking replay. Before we begin with the replay, I'm gonna show off the map. It's got the Sacred Stones tile set. If you know the Fire Emblem game, well, FE8, basically this is from that. Also, if you've been, you may or may not know from looking at the other content I post on my channel other than Advanced Wars content, but I do Advanced War, I do Fire Emblem content as well. Mostly challenge runs on this channel so far, so if you're interested in that sort of thing, take a look up. If not, like, whatever. Anyways, the fun thing about this map is I think it's literally just let me enter this into here. Oh, that's a joke. Shadows chase you horizontally. Yeah, it's literally just shadows chase you endlessly rotated. It's just rotated horizontally. So yeah, it's that with the Magville tile set. So basically anything that goes in shadows chase you endlessly, which I'm gonna search that up here actually. But because it's literally just a rotation of that, it should basically give you, it should more or less be the same exact thing as the original, right? So if you're looking at map analysis for that one, here we go. So for tier 2, it's going to be max at 43%. Where's Eagle? Eagle at 49. Sammy down at 35 even. So not exactly. What's funny about this is I think that I'm seeing a lot of COs being used in tier 1 from tier 2, it looks like. I think that's all 3 of them. Oh wait, Olaf, where are you? 37%. Yeah, so as you can see, it's actually kind of low there. I would say, honestly, maybe Eagle's even the favorite to win. Because the thing about Shadows Chase You Endlessly is that it's base light, meaning that your air units are going to be a bit more important, meaning that Eagle does have a bit of an advantage here. That being said, Max's battle counters aren't anything to sneeze at either, but because this map is so, like, small, I can see Eagle's Lightning Strike coming out really nicely, even just to get in a little bit of extra unit count out actually would be really nice on it as well. Is really nice on this map as well from Eagle. So I can see why he's got the top. He's the top pick for tier 2. So I'm assuming there's I'm kind of assuming there's there's mid, right? Mid. Oh, actually. You know, that would be why. Is because there isn't actually a tier 2 proper in this mode. What? Yeah, there's no tier 2. Okay, well, there you go. It's like its own thing. For Global League, there's no tier 2. That would be why it's so. That would be why you're seeing such a weird thing with it. Anyways. Glad I caught that, actually. That's kind of funny. For this map, basically you have this black boat, which is interesting. It's kind of funny. Is there one in the original Chasing Endlessly? Yeah, there's one too. That's what I thought. So you can use that to block your opponent's infantry from making it across the shoals to basically just delay him getting to his comm tower and airport a little bit faster. So we basically just delay those captures by like a turn. It's not the biggest deal here, but then you just send it back to the corner here to block the harbor here as well. So pretty honestly sort of basic, but in a mode like this tournament where you have for round 2 you have all of these COs unlocked with these other guys banned, right? So in tier 2, I mean, Nell is allowed, but funnily enough, I think that Max is actually significantly better than Nell in most circumstances. Nell can be good, because, well, her superpower with enabling infantry to like wipe out a Neo tank, that's like never going to be bad, you know? So that's why she's in the busted here, because of that. But like the thing that's sort of annoying when you're playing Nell against like even Max, or even someone like Jess with a small, or Adder even, with small movement day-to-day power. What's really annoying about that is your opponent can just stay out of range of all your your units as Nell, and you have like no chance of actually getting engagements with those infantry that you sort of want, right? Anyways, so that's why I wouldn't pick Nell here. I think that the favorite here is either going to be, well, actually Eagle's banned. Eagle and Olaf are both banned, making Max like the obvious pick here, because he's the only one actually, if you remember the ban list here from Shadows is, so this is tier 1, this is tier 3. Max is the only one that's actually banned from tier 3 Global League. Well, that's live actually, but it's the same here, right? Nice low tier list. But yeah, like, look, Max is banned as well. So since Max is allowed, he's like the obvious first pick for your primary CO. And then honestly, for tag CO, I think Adder is always going to be a good choice, just as a backup CO, because he allows you to get that same sort of movement boost that I was talking about with Max, so you can zone out your opponent pretty well with Adder as well, a little bit. Jess, I think her power slows, I mean, her little power charges up a little bit slower, but it's also slightly more powerful. I feel like Adder's the go-to just because of how quickly it charges, though. With a honorable mention to Kindle, because she does have like a really good power. It's just not something that you really want to be swapping back and forth with your main CO with, right? So Kindle is something more of a backup where you want to have that firepower bonus to shore up your weakness in another area, right? So if I were playing as, well, actually, let's just go to round 1, right? If I was playing as, for example, if I'm playing as Von Bolt in round 1, which I did, the reason I would bring Kindle is just to potentially give that extra little bit of day-to-day bonus. Potentially, honestly, I don't even think, well, actually, you know why? It's because Kindle's out of these guys is probably the most powerful. And when you have basically every CO available, that firepower is going to potentially come in play. Of course, it didn't in my first round. But yeah. Anyways, I think I mentioned the Shoals and the Black Boat play there. I think that's it, though, for everything I wanted to cover before I actually got to the replay. So let's make sure that this is correctly. Okay. You can see both of the bars from my phone there, so that should be good enough. And let's get started with the replay. So, as you can see there, immediately moving in there with my Blackwood, and I swapped to Adder. Not exactly sure why I did this. I think I was just memeing a little bit because I'm like, may as well, right? Just have Adder, and then I swap back to Max immediately because like there's no advantage to having Adder day to day to begin with, so I'm like, I'll just stay with Max. You know, I'll stay with Max. Obviously, like, and there's the play there with just darting your block boat back and forth here to annoy, just to harass your opponent's infantry there. It buys you like an extra turn, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So let's see here. My opponent's going to be ahead sort of significantly in income to start out with, like 2K is nothing to sneeze at. But he doesn't have his airport yet, so yeah, and he didn't really have anything chained up for the next turn either, so the income is going to even out here in a second. Yeah, as you can see, we're neck and neck here. I opened up with the tank first, so my opponent's obviously going to need to counteract with his own tank. Because we're both playing Max, it's going to come down to kind of just to whoever gets the first strike. Or if we start blobbing up a little bit, whoever gets the first really good push with our tanks. As you can see here, we're having enough income here where we can actually afford tanks from both of our bases. That's part of why well, it's sort of a base light thing, right, is you're able to afford more tanks, right, very early on. So my opponent well, actually, I don't even know if that's a mistake, because he does have enough money to afford that, a tank, and an infantry. So I think that's actually a decent play by my opponent here. As you can see here, I think I'm actually falling behind a little bit in income. Yeah, just from next turn, what he's going to be able to grab, I'm going to be behind a little bit. But I do take out his infantry here, and I have enough tanks in this area that he can't actually move in for free here. Basically, he'd be sacking a tank for getting some damage off on one of my tanks, which is good, but like in a limited unit count format like this, where you have only a few units, well, where you only have 2 bases, that's something that you can't really afford to do. But we'll see what my opponent does. So he goes for it. Actually, he's playing out of this city now. So he's got the infantry in range there as well, and he's got the battlecopter here. The only issue with this battlecopter, like the battlecopter is good and all, but the only issue with it is that I'm able to counteract it pretty easily just by building an anti-air. So he's gonna get zoned out pretty effectively here in a second. My opponent's ahead in income. He's gonna be ahead for a little bit as well, I think here. Opening up there, taking out his tank, and then I have my anti-air in range to stop his battlecopter, and all that he has in range here is like 1 tank again. So again, he can take the first strike. He can even take out one of my tanks here, but in retaliation he'd lose his battlecopter for that, so I don't think he's going to end up going. Oh, he goes for the first strike at least. Okay, yeah, so he's going to be trying to block here with his infantry a little bit. The only thing that like doesn't make sense for that as a play is like this infantry only has 5 health. So I don't know what he's thinking there, because even this guy can take him out. Because I've got infantry in range right here, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I just take it out like that. There he goes with the battlecopter. There goes most of his tank as well. And he's not going to be able to wrap around with this tank to be able to take out the anti-air either. So I don't know what he's thinking here. Doing a little bit of a damage thing here, like sort of like walling off this captor. So I'm taking out his infantry there, a good chunk out of it, and then I'm also repairing it with a black boat here so that I can keep on capturing. And then from this point on, like I have this infantry here, he's going to be able to take the rest of this island, especially if he doesn't send his tanks back to deal with them. which I've got tanks here ready to move in. I've got this guy backing this guy up. I've got this guy backing up most of my vehicles here as well. So, yeah. He goes in, actually takes out the tank there. So that's a decent move for him. Got this tank moving in back up on the right side here. I mean, he's actually going for the Neo tank as well to start doing a little bit of damage to me here. So in response, I'm going to go ahead and take out the infantry there. Mainly to get this guy out of the way. Take out the tank. Take out the infantry. Get a decent first strike there as well. The anti-air is... It's not going to die, which... Let's see. So Max going into the anti-air, right? 76 to 84%. I mean, not I wouldn't like want to take that engagement, but after like, let's say it's a 2 health, even a 4 health max anti-air does like about half a battlecopter's worth of damage to it. So like it would still zone out any air units that he would try to go for here, right? Which is all that I would really need it for. So I just go for tank, right? And I'm saving up a little bit for, I think maybe a bomber even. But my opponent here goes for max force. That's a little power. Unfortunately for him, his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, his Neo tank can't really. Well, I mean, I guess it does have re-rain here, so he's able to take out a good amount of my units here. But honestly, all he did was take out an infantry, a tank, a weakened tank even. Yeah, weakened tank, most of my anti-air, but he didn't actually finish off the anti-air, which is important. And that's it, really. So, kind of a mediocre max force coming from my opponent here. I'm going to be honest. It wasn't really threatening, so I just get the kill there, and then I had enough for the superpower, so I just go ahead and go for it, right? So pop it, take out most of the tank there, just with that one. Take out that tank with those two. Cap with this infantry as well, so that he can't really attack from the city with his Neo tank. Finish off that tank. And then I move like this to guard my anti-air as well. Actually, take an engagement there with my tank. I think this wasn't exactly the optimal play, because what I was trying to do here was... No, I don't even remember, but by doing this, actually, crazily enough, is I think I'm sort of like softening it up just like perfectly enough to be able to do some damage with some real damage with my Neo tank, so I can like threaten this area like crazy now that his Neo tank's down to full health. So I'll have to draw it back, and in the meantime, I've got my infantry going ham over here on these properties, right? Yeah, I'm even taking properties in this corner as well. So that's going pretty good. I've got my own Neo tank to start threatening his vehicles in this area. Gonna get an infantry there, I think, as well. Yep. And then I actually tag out. I forego the defense bonus for this next turn, just so that I can side flip with adder if I need to. So I'm getting an extra point of move, maybe even an extra 2 points of move. Maybe not 2, because I'm never gonna get that much charge. But anyways, so it actually just moves 1 forward with his Neo tank, which I think that's just GG right there, honestly. Like, I don't think he was paying attention at all to what I was doing with my Neo tank here. But that was a very aggressive move with his Neo tank, and it's going to cost him heavily here. Well, actually, I think he just forfeited. Yeah, he just forfeited. I think, right? Build. Next action. Oh, wait. Why are there 2 then? Okay. I guess it broke my turn here. But anyways, this is what I did. That's enough for a wrap. Because my opponent obviously resigned the next turn. Actually, he popped Urban Blight. Did some mild, like, capping and stuff. So he's still doing a little bit of movement, but, like, obviously he resigns here. And it's mainly because he doesn't have an answer to this Neotink at this point. He can't. He just can't at this point, really. 14-8. I think that is technically enough to get a Neotink if you wanted one. The only issue is he's down. Actually, he isn't even down that much. But he'd be down on unit count. He'd be down. He's already significantly down on income. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. I feel like he could maybe have kept on doing some play here. The only issue is I'm gonna have a 5 health. Anti-air here, so that he's not really going to be able to do too much with his battlecopter. He's got tanks in the area, sure, but I've got a Neo tank as well, so and like 3 healthy tanks as well, which I think is going to end up being more important, honestly. And I've also got a battlecopter in this area, so he sort of needed to spend money on an anti-air even, which I don't think that he'd be able to get out. Right, because at this point I've got the battlecopter here, I've got the Neo tank here. They would, I just zone out any anti-air you built with my Neo tank, right? So yeah, I think it mainly came down to just moving there and then switching to adder as well. Like that just gave me the window that I needed to absolutely demolish him, because this guy is gone at that point. So yeah, that's it for round 2 here. Yeah, that's it for the Sacred Stones one. It's literally just chasing shadows turned on its side, so not exactly the most creative of maps, but I like shadows chasing you endlessly anyways, so yeah, I really like this map anyways, so I'm perfectly fine with it just being tilted a little bit for this match. Next one is going to be on this one, Chasing Shadows in Limgrave, which is from Elden Ring, I guess. I don't know about this one, because, you know, Elden Ring, the famous 8-bit game Elden Ring with its famous tile set, you know, like, what? What? I would think maybe a Days of Ruin reference, but no, we're going for a AAA game, AAA 3D game to be specific to. So, but anyways, and honestly, this is basically just, I think this is just the normal Advanced Wars. Yeah, it's just color changed. Like, what? It's got a bunch of shoals as well. Anyways, that's about it for today's match. If you enjoyed, do go ahead and give me a like and a subscribe and all that other nonsense. And yeah, I'll see you next week with the next installment of this. But also check out everything else on my channel, please, if you want. So yeah, that's about it from me for today. Thank you very much for watching.